On this episode of Trying Not to Sink, we're going to answer some of the common questions we receive on the YouTube channel. Enjoy!
Hi everyone, welcome to Triton's Lair, question and answer.
From Mike J. Hi Ed and Lynn, it's boat season. What are your plans this year?
Well, wish we knew. Our plans to go down south to the Exumas again, we basically hit the wall on that. We're not going to have enough time to get back before hurricane season. That doesn't mean that we can't go in the fall. So we're kind of keeping that window open, then maybe in October, November, December that we head down. As you know, we have to be back for tax season, so January is out of the question.
And we got to watch out for hurricane season.
Yeah, so we can't be there during hurricane season, so we just missed this window of opportunity. But we don't know. We're not sure how the fall is going to look either. We also have the option of heading up north. We were thinking of maybe, Martha's Vineyard again, Long Island Sound. But it's really going to come down to how comfortable we feel. Now, we know the states are opening up and some of the marinas are opening, the bars are opening, and that's all well and good. We're not quite sure if we're there yet and when we're going to be there as far as us feeling comfortable. And because when we go out boating, it's just not about boating, it's about meeting people, it's about restaurants and bars and exploring, yeah. And you need to feel comfortable doing that. So we've kind of have everything on hold right now. And we're taking the opportunity to do a lot of work that we want to do on the boat, but never seem to have time to do. So we're doing a couple minor repairs. We're going to be doing some improvements, perhaps putting a new floor in, a new counter, updating one of the bathrooms. So anyway, if we do stay home and we do those type of projects, we're going to be doing videos for them as well.
Right.
And it'll probably be called This Old Boat. So.
And Gary Home asked, how much does the boat depreciate in value?
I guess he was watching our budget video, and I did not talk about depreciation because, well, actually, if you go back a few videos, you will find where I address it. But our belief is there really is not going to be much, if any, depreciation. The reason for that is it's a 40-year-old boat. Mostly, the depreciation is pretty much built into it. As long as we maintain it properly, even improve it, I doubt we're going to see the boat depreciate in value. In fact, you would not be able to find a boat of our age and quality for a lesser price than we purchased it anyway. And we feel it'll maintain it. Now, of course, I could be wrong. Who knows what's going to happen in the market? But right now, we're not factoring in depreciation.
Husker, Nebraska asked, is there any chance that you could share a ballpark expense for food, all expenses involved in the trip? And thanks for sharing.
Well, that's difficult because we do spend a lot of other money on the trip. If we are not anchored out or moored out, we are eating out. We go to a lot of restaurants on the trip, and I'm going to say 5 days out of the week we're out someplace, and so I'm going to estimate that perhaps we spend maybe $125, $150 a day on average. Some days are more. The days we more out, they're zero. Buying food, things like that. Probably around the 3-month trip, I'm going to say maybe $12,000. Probably be close. Honestly, we don't track it. We throw it on the credit card and I pay it later, and I should track it. But here's what we do know. If we were home, we would still be going out to eat. We would still be doing some of the things we're doing anyway. So to us, we don't really consider it a boating expense per se.
It's money we would spend anyway.
Yeah. If we were home, we'd be buying groceries. We'd be going out to eat.
Yeah.
Not a whole big difference.
And Johnny Rocco asked, what if you want to take people out for a night or two on the yacht. Do you have any special license to do charter work?
To take people out on the boat at any time, we can do that. You don't need a special license to take people out. What you do need a special license for is to charge people money to take them out. So yes, running a charter business, you would have to have a captain's license. Doing what we do does not require it. Now, I may eventually go for a captain's license. Maybe Lynn will go for one as well. Yeah, just for the hell of it, just for the knowledge, just to, hey, be able to say you're a captain. But the short answer
Officially.
the short answer is no, you don't need a license to do what we do. In Pennsylvania, where we're from, they do require you get take the safety course, which why wouldn't you anyway? So we both have taken the safety course. But as far as getting a license, we'll see.
And Jay Hen asked, are you able to expense any of these costs, being the CPA that you are?
Well, first of all, I'm not a CPA. I hire CPAs, but I'm not one personally. However, no, short answer is no. You cannot expense these things. If you own a boat for pleasure, for your own entertainment, it's not an expense. If you own the boat for a business, however, you can write off expenses. So if you're running a charter business, a fishing business, something of that nature, yes, and it's like any other business, you can write off all your expenses, and the boat being one of them, or the fuel and things that you need. Now, when you're running it like, just a pleasure boat like us, no, then you can't write it off. However, you are able to treat it like a second home. So like a vacation property, you can write off things like the mortgage interest. There's no real estate taxes to write off, but you can write off the mortgage interest and add that to your Schedule A on your tax return. But the actual expenses, unless you're really running it as a business and you can prove that to the IRS, don't attempt to write off expenses on a yacht. Okay, Stardust asked, Lynn, why don't you dock the boat sometimes?
To be quite honest, I actually don't trust Ed with the lines. And we kind of have our own special set of skills that we stick to right now, and it works. Maybe eventually I will, but for right now, I think it works for us, so we'll just keep it that way for now.
Maybe this season, since we have time, if we're not really going anywhere, we can play around the dock. Usually when Lynn and I get on the boat, we're going places, and we just don't have time to teach her docking or to teach me doing the lines, so we kind of stay to what we're doing right now.
Our particular set of skills.
Yes. So and that's what we're doing for now. Now Lynn does captain the boat at sea often, or in the ICW, things like that. But for right now, I'm comfortable docking. She's comfortable with the lines, and it's working for us so far. From CPM1, how can you afford to do what you do? That's a long. I mean, there's a long answer to that. I will try to make it a short answer. Well, let's see. Lynn and I were both homeless at one point when we were young adults. We eventually got out of that and became just poor. And we started our own company, made some money, we were doing well, and then we had children, and we were poor again.
Yep.
But over time, we grew Lynn's photography company, and we made a nice living for ourselves, nothing extravagant. We could pay our bills, we could take the family on a vacation once a year. But never really had any extra money to do anything besides that. Somewhere around, I don't know, maybe 10 years in, we purchased the house that we live in, and it was just a little modest one-story rancher on a really nice lot, a 3-acre lot in a really good neighborhood in Bucks County. And we lived there for about 10 years, just muddling our way by. Eventually, we had enough money in the house to take out a small equity loan. And what Lynn and I decided to do was we were going to build our dream house with this little bit of equity. I think it was like $30,000 that we got. So, of course, that's not enough money to build anything, so we decided we're going to do it ourselves.
Spooky farmhouse.
Yep. So we basically built the house we live in. We went from a 1,500 square foot rancher to a 5,500 square foot McMansion, building it ourselves. And I mean, we built it ourselves. We did have some help with some framing, and I did bring a drywall guy in to do some work, but pretty much everything, the floors, the walls. We built the kitchen cabinets from a pile of wood. And we did all this because, well, we didn't have the money to do it any other way. But in the course of doing that, we built up a lot of equity. By the time the house was reasonably done a few years later, we had literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity from what we had done through sweat. And we used
and tears.
Yeah, and tears.
And laughter.
But we used some of that money. We purchased some other investment properties. We started out with a 4-plex, and then we got a 6-plex, and then we bought the 8-unit building. And meanwhile, I had decided I was going to look for an opportunity to make money in the winter. Our photography company, although it was paying the bills, we were never really getting ahead with it, and it was slow in the winter. So I decided to go into accounting and tax preparation, figuring that's a 3-month job in the winter, and
seasonal.
By the time that ends, the photography season picks up. My brother was doing it for a living, and he was doing well, so I decided to do that. After a few years of doing that, it took a while, but I built the company up, and the real estate was starting to do well. And eventually, I think the accounting company became big enough that we were making more money doing that than we were doing photography. Lynn was kind of burnt out on the photography anyway, so we decided
downsized it and sold it.
Yeah. So, and I guess that's kind of quickly how we got to a position where we had the money. But I think what was important to us was not so much making money as a tax accountant, which I do, is really that the real estate. Because we don't need to save for retirement, because the investment properties will be our retirement. And when you don't need to tuck away a lot of money every year, you end up having more money that you can spend on things like boating. So, I guess the short answer is it was a lot of hard work for a lot of years, but by the time we hit our late 40s, early 50s, we had accumulated enough over time that we were able to take some money and spend it on frivolous things like boating. And it was right around this time also that my younger brother died in a boating accident, ironically, and that kind of led us to the place where we believe that, are we really going to wait till we're 65 years old and retire and take that regular route, or sometimes you just don't know when your number's up. And the number was up for my brother, and it was up for him when he was, I think, 49 years old.
Yeah,
and
that
that weighed heavily, especially on me. And we decided, you know what, this is the time. We're reasonably young, we're in shape, we have the discretionary income to do it. Our retirement's taken care of from the rental properties, and we just said hell with it, and we bought a boat. And anyway, that's the short version of that. Okay, next question. And we get this from lots of people, so I don't have anyone particular. Why did you choose an old Hatteras?
Yeah, a lot of people ask that.
Yeah. Well, we love boats. First time we stepped on a Hatteras was at the Annapolis boat show, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and we just fell in love with the boat.
Well, first our son did, and I was like, no, this boat's too big. There's no way we're getting this boat. It's too big.
Yeah. I was afraid of that boat. It was like, I was afraid of the 40-foot Carver at first, and I don't know. We decided eventually that when we bought the Carver, the whole idea was that we were buying a boat that we really liked, but it wasn't our dream boat. It was going to be the boat that, if we decided we really liked boating, we were going to move up to our dream boat.
Right.
And the Hatteras was the dream boat. And I guess some of the reasons why, well, first of all, it's an older boat, so we can afford it. That's one reason why. Yet it's a classic boat. It's kind of, to me, it's kind of like holding an old, 67 Corvette or something like that. It's a boat that it's just a classic. It's beautiful. They're well made. They're solid.
Seaworthy.
Solid core. Great reputation. It uses Detroit diesels, which are easy to get parts for. There was a lot of little reasons, but I think it was styling more than anything, I think. And then you really like the galley up.
I love the galley up. That's on our Hatteras. Not all Hatterases have that, but I like that because when we have people over the boat and I'm making food and we're partying, I can be part of the party while, what do they say? Put the slop out.
So, yeah, I mean, we have, we've looked at other boats we like. I mean, Flemings are great. The Nordhavens are fantastic boats. But for that value-wise, for what we paid for the Hatteras and for what we got, and we love it. I mean, I could see us having this boat forever. Now, I could see us upgrading some things. Particularly, the Detroit diesels. We have these 8V92s, and they're just overkill for what we do. We treat her like a trawler. We basically go 10 knots. I don't need half that engine. And maybe, hopefully, someday we'll be able to put some electric engines in.
Yeah, we really have our fingers crossed on that.
But, other than that, I mean, I could just see having this boat forever. There's nothing about it that I don't like. I mean, other than we can upgrade things. We can upgrade heads. We can maybe put some new pumps in, maybe change some of the decor. But it's the structure is just exactly what we like in a boat.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed our question and answer session. If you have questions, send them to us. Comment on our videos. We do our very best to answer every single comment that we get. And perhaps you'll see your question on the next Q&A session.
Cheers. Roger out.